Hey everyone, it's Victor here, and today I am literally just going to sit down and talk to you in a very open and candid way about what's been going on in my life. Maybe not too open. A lot that has happened recently has been quite traumatic, very personal, so obviously I will leave out some details, but I just wanted to talk to you about what I'm thinking, what life is doing right now, and just kind of tell you what's on my mind. I thought we'd sit down, have some tea. I've actually got some honeycomb cookie dough from Bird and Blend in my teacup here, and that is my current favorite tea. I am absolutely addicted to it. So that's a kind of personal update. Favorite tea, honeycomb cookie dough from Bird and Blend. Bird and Blend are amazing. You got to check them out if you don't already know them. You just got to try it. I'm sorry. So, you may have noticed that I am no longer living in Scotland. The reasons for that are long and complicated, but I can vaguely go into it. And for me, in a way, it'll be good to kind of get it out there and talk about it, because sometimes you just keep these things inside. And I know I've talked about it with Teddy and people close to me, but sometimes you just need to get out there and talk about things. This year, I'm sure I don't need to go into it, has been chaotic at best. It's been horrendous for a lot of people, and I was very lucky. Mostly this year has been a year of healing because I got my surgery, my top surgery, in March? I was meant to have it in February. I think I eventually got it in March. I've actually forgotten. That shows you how mad this year has been. So I was somewhat bedridden, really. I wasn't really doing anything for the first couple of months. But in a way, it felt good to just know I wasn't missing out on anything that was happening, really, because nothing really happened this year in terms of conventions or social events and gatherings and things like that. So in a way, it was the perfect time to heal, really. But as the year progressed, some things happened. I learned some very hard lessons about myself and who I am and what kind of person I'm like. And basically ever since September, my life just became the most chaotic it's ever been, the most unexpected and heart-wrenching it's ever been. And I really don't want to get emotional. That's why I've got warm tea. Warm tea usually helps me get through things. So we're not going to get emotional. We're going to try and talk about this in a nice, calm way. Because at the end of the day, this is a happy story, I think, at the end. Some things happened in September that really tested my relationship with my partner and my relationship with a lot of people, actually. And that, everything just went downhill from there. I don't know what it was. I don't mean to be mystical about it, but I was really getting into tarot readings, and a couple of the readings that I did were quite scarily accurate to the point of where I became quite terrified, actually. Some of the cards I drew were very foreboding, and they came true. And say what you like about it, I know that some people don't believe in that stuff, and I completely understand, but sometimes things happen and you just wonder why it was such a coincidence. I worried about that for some time, that somehow I had dabbled into something I couldn't comprehend or couldn't understand. I'm a very logical person by nature, and I try not to get too involved in things that I feel like I can't control. I try not to think about that stuff because I like to think I can be in control of everything. But my experience with tarot, as I got more into it, frightened me, because my eventual outcomes of those readings were not pleasant. And I know it can be very helpful for some people, but for me it was... I'm not blaming the tarot cards. Obviously, my life just happened. Life happens, doesn't it? But sometimes you attribute these things to something beyond your comprehension, and sometimes that can be very scary. But also these things let us learn very important lessons about ourselves and how we function, how we work, who we are. And that definitely did that for me at the end of this year. By the end of September, the chaos had got to a point where I had to leave my family home, which, in all honesty, I've never really been away from for very long in my life, which is mostly circumstantial. I didn't have a very easy time at school. I didn't get the same opportunities that some may have to go to secondary education, such as university or college and things like that. I had a hard time, a very hard time. And I may as well just go fully into it now because I'm opening up. I'm opening up now. This is what this video is about. In high school, I had to leave early due to a mental breakdown, a very bad one, which was caused by bullying. I was severely bullied online and in person. I also had all my gender issues going on. There was a lot that was going on in my mind, and it led me to that. And it is why I have not ever gained the qualifications that I need to get a normal job or do any of those things, because I kind of missed out on that, really. The school was no help. School was useless, actually, and I don't mind saying that. The only thing they kept saying was, just bring him in, just bring him into school. And that just wasn't an option. I couldn't go back to school. So my family home has been a safe haven for me for all my life, basically. I moved there when I was in primary 3, and I've never really been away from it for very long, ever, apart from maybe going to conventions or going to stay with family friends, or, but only for a couple of weeks. I've never been away for a somewhat permanent amount of time, a long time. And the fact that these events that happened, 2 very different events that happened to me in September, one personal to me and one about my family. After those events, I had to go. I had to move away for the sake of my own mental health and for the sake of my family. And it's been one of the hardest things I've ever done, because my family means so much to me. And so do my animals, and, my whole life was there. But in other ways, it was very restrictive to my growth as a person, because I did live in the middle of nowhere. And because I didn't have a normal job, YouTube is the only thing I've done. I've done work in, obviously, TV and the filmmaking industry. But that stuff is so freelance, it's not exactly something that can keep you going long term unless you get a contract or a big break in a movie or a TV series, which I haven't had yet. Not yet, anyway. So I'm living with Teddy in England now, and it's obviously been difficult moving away from my family, and I still Skype them, and it's not like we're on bad terms. Nothing happened between my family that was, anything to do with our relationship. It was something about the household, which I don't want to go into, but I basically needed to move. I needed to move. I just had to. It was kind of an emergency situation. And also the fact that because of what's happened in 2020 with the pandemic, I might not have been able to see Teddy again for a very long time if I had stayed, and that would have been more detrimental to everything. So that was the decision I had to make, and that's why I'm here. And I've been here since September the 20-something. I don't know, it was the end of September. And in many ways, I feel like this is possibly the most growing up I've done in a long time. Mostly because at home, back in Scotland, there was really no option for me to find another job other than YouTube. I lived literally in the middle of nowhere. I didn't have a car. I couldn't go anywhere to find a job. Whereas I live in a town here, and there's shops and options for me. But that's where things get a little bit disheartening again. I have been applying to places. I've been looking into apprenticeships. I have been trying to see what I can do with the skills that I have, which unfortunately are only really sought after in a media creative industry, which of course is very hard to make a lot of money in when you're not as big as some of the big names. And so I've been rejected over and over. And this is a theme for me in applying for jobs. I never seem to have enough experience, enough qualifications, or people just simply don't give me the time of day or the chance to prove that I can work hard as a person, because I do. I'm a very, very hardworking person, but I've never been given the chance for a normal job. And I know I've only just really started trying seriously, but it's been it hasn't helped, is what I'm saying. My mental health was already bad, but it definitely made it harder. And I know because of this year, all the situation with everything, everyone's finding it hard to keep jobs and find jobs. It's not just me. I mean, my God, this is just my story, and that's all I can tell because that's all I know. If you're listening to this and you're thinking, oh God, what's he complaining about? If your story is more traumatic than mine, I'm so sorry. I guess all I can say is my truth and what's happening to me at the moment. But I don't mean to sound like I'm complaining or I feel like I'm so hard done by, because my goodness, I am not. And this is where I want to turn things on their head a little bit and talk about the positives of this situation. I am living with my boyfriend who I love with my whole heart. I am in a safe environment. I am somewhere warm. I mean, God, the heating's so good in this house. Like I'm wearing a short-sleeved top. And that's, for me, is luxury. I have somewhere to sleep at night. I have food. Well, that's the thing. I'm buying all my own food now, which is something I didn't do before because, well, my family supported me, but I'm supporting myself now. I'm buying all my own food, but that's literally more pressure for my YouTube to be successful and for my online things to be successful because that's my only income. Yeah, but we're not going on the negative side. We're staying on the positive. I have been able to eat, and Teddy luckily has a job, and obviously he would keep me going when I can no longer support myself, and I don't expect him to do that, but I know he would. I have my health. Yeah, I have some things. I still have my chronic back pain, which I manage in the only way I can, with painkillers and rest and exercise and all that kind of stuff. If you don't know, I suffer with chronic sciatica, which comes and goes. It can be very extreme, and sometimes I don't feel it at all, but it's very random, and it's never gone away for 5 years. So I'm assuming it's chronic by this point. But we'll see. I have hope that it may one day go away. So I have that. But that's not the worst thing. I have all of you guys. I mean, if I had absolutely nothing, if I had no followers whatsoever and no monetary income, I would really be in trouble. But the fact that I get something a month, it's hardly anything, but it's something. And my coffee supporters, you guys, you're directly giving me something every month, and that means more than I can say. I know you'll be watching this before anyone else anyway, and I want to kind of dedicate this to you because, my God, you've given me a lot of hope. You've given me so much to, just to think that people out there still want to see me thrive and want to see my content. That's really kept me going in the very dark times that I've experienced recently. Sometimes life pushes us in directions that are uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. But often it's the thing you need the most. I think I needed to be pushed out of that situation, living in the middle of nowhere, to possibly just be given a chance somewhere, to earn a little bit of money, to get a job, to get some experience so that I can go to other jobs. Maybe I'll find some TV and movie opportunities here. I've thought about auditioning, and I have auditioned to some things, but with what's going on with the pandemic, it's very difficult to know if you're going into a safe filming environment, and it's not really a risk I want to take at the moment. I'm so happy I get to wake up every morning and see Teddy there. That's priceless to me. He's actually currently having a nap upstairs. He's probably hearing me talking, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. He's probably asleep. The events that happened to me this year have been needed, even though they've been painful and uncomfortable and very difficult. I've needed to learn these lessons, and I've needed to see what is important in my life and what I'm grateful for. And I think the day that I'm filming this is Thanksgiving, and I don't actually know anything about Thanksgiving, but it's about being thankful for what you have, isn't it? My goodness, I am thankful for so many things right now. So my hopes for the rest of this year and next year is that I can get on my feet a little bit, gain more independence, earn enough to live off. That would be the dream. That's all I dream about, is earning enough to live off, to not worry about money anymore. But I'm sure that's a dream for many people as well. There's so much to be grateful for. The fact that I am alive on this planet, that is just the biggest gift. Even if I'm feeling so incredibly low, I just remember, and this is going to sound so... You're probably going to think, oh God, this guy is just so cringy. But if I look up at the stars and realize how massive the universe is and how small I am, all my problems seem to melt away. And I realize, wow, I'm alive. I'm alive, and I'm looking at the stars, and I realize my place in this world. And I realize that I am so lucky to exist. Like, what are the chances that I exist, that I'm talking to you now, that we all exist? And I know this is very existential, and I'm very sorry I've just given you an existential crisis, but sometimes we need to think about these things, because our problems can get on top of us. And we can think about money, and we can think about health and all these things. But at the end of the day, what a gift it is to be alive. Every second, whether it be painful or blissfully ecstatic, all of those experiences are precious. It's just all one big miracle, really, isn't it? And I'm not going to stop trying. I've wanted to give up so many days these past months. I've just thought, what's the point? You know, I'm not making money, I'm not... Blah, blah, blah. There's no other option for me other than to just keep trying. And that's what I'm going to do. If YouTube doesn't work and I never make money from it, then that's just the way the cookie crumbles, I suppose. I've been doing this for 5 years now, and sometimes that thought does come into my mind, especially recently, if I should just give it all up. But right now it's keeping me going, and I'm doing it really for myself, to give me something to live for, to make something I'm proud of, and to put it out there. Even if no one watches it, even if no one likes it, it's being productive, it's doing something, and that's what I need to feel like I'm doing right now. But how have you been? I want to know. Please tell me in the comments. Let's have a discussion about what we're thankful for and what we've learned this year. What have you learned about yourself and your life that makes you see things in a different way? I'd be really interested to know that. Feels kind of good to talk about that, really, to get it out there. And I know I haven't really gone into detail, but I don't want to, because it is very, very personal. And sometimes we have to keep these things personal. But the fact is, I have learned so much this year. This year has been a year of growth and of reflection. But my God, am I excited to embrace my family and my friends again. Hopefully soon. Oh, I've been sitting in this chair for too long now, and that's not good for my back. But thank you for sitting and listening to me talk. I hope this was enlightening for those of you that have been wondering what's been going on in my life. I'm just looking for jobs and for an opportunity for life to show me a path that will help me be more independent. That's really what I want. But anyway, for now, please take care of yourselves. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon.